So April was the owls, and I remember doing my owls TBR video and going all like, you know what, I was going to choose a career, which was Cursebreaker. I was going to read the prompts for Cursebreaker, which was 6 prompts, and that if I read any additional books during the month, then I would consider it a win, because like I have said several times on my channel, I'm currently coming out of a reading slump, so things have been a bit kind of like dicey for me. So yes, surprisingly enough, I ended up not going with Cursebreaker. I just decided to just, you know, read as many books to fulfill as many prompts of the owls as possible. I was aiming for 12, but I ended up reading 8 books for owls, which is already an upgrade over my Cursebreaker TBR. And then I read an additional book, so I ended up reading 9 books in April. But I still did not fulfill my Cursebreaker prompts though.
Doctors can't explain my symptoms or my pain, but you are my...
Hello everybody, Nora back again. So the very first book I read in April was Godsgrave by J. Christoph. Now, this book just confirms to me that I should have jumped on the J. Christoph wagon like ages ago, because one, this man knows how to tell an engaging story. This man knows how to write women. This man knows how to write assassins. Do you understand how that makes me feel? How happy that makes me? It just, every single part of my cell that is bloodthirsty was quenched and fed, like well fed during the duration of this book. I read this book, I loved it, I cried, I screamed, I shouted, I was shocked, because like every single time I thought I knew what was happening, something came and just changed the game, and I was just like, you know nothing, Noria. You know nothing. Now, we pick up Godsgrave from where Nevernight left off. Now, for those that, like I mentioned last month, Nevernight is all about the story of a young girl, whose family fell into ruins and who made a promise to herself to take vengeance on those that betrayed her family. And Mia Cover is not just all about just, you know, making those empty promises. No, when she promises she's going to take vengeance, she actually puts these things to work, in which case we start Nevernight with her going over to join the Red Church, which is this elite school for assassins, and they are taught in every single skill you need in order to successfully assassinate people. So poison, swords play, using sex to get what you want, being able to be this talented pickpocket, you name it. And Mia Cover did learn the skills, but now it got to a final test. Things did not go as planned, and she was betrayed. That was like, you know, she was betrayed. She saved the day, but Mia's quest to find out what it means to be a Darkin, because she's a Darkin, and a Darkin is this being whose shadow apparently contains passengers who are able to drink said person's fears, and what in turn means is that, you know, they are stronger, they are more ruthless, more fearless, every single thing they need. And her Darkling for so long was Mr. Kindly, and you know, things wrapped up with Nevernight with her not having the answers to the question she seeks. She's been able to kill one of the people she set out to kill, and she still has more people on that list. And most importantly, she was betrayed by someone that she really loved and really cared for. She lost someone she really loved and really cared for, and she picked up another passenger along the way. So that was where we stopped with Nevernight. And Godsgrave just, I love how he started it. He just jumped us right into the midst of the entire mystery, because Mia Cover has a plan up her sleeves, and she wants to be captured as a slave and sold as a gladiator. And it's not until later in the book that we find out why. And I'm telling you, this girl, the universe blessed me with Mia Cover's ability to plan and strategize and take her time, because you see, she gives new meaning to the phrase, vengeance is a dish best served cold. And best believe that Mia Cover is coming for your neck way after you thought that she's forgotten about it. Like, she plans, she plots. She's still the loyal, feisty, deadly girl that we've met in Nevernight, but she's stronger. And I see, my problem with a lot of books is that sometimes when they say someone is really strong, we don't really see how strong that person is. And sometimes when you know, they toss this person into unrealistic situations, and they just rise above and they just get really, really powerful. It's unfortunately something I had a problem with in the Game of Thrones Game of Thrones TV series with regards to Arya's assassin's training. Not with the book. Like George R. R. Martin fleshed that shit out. We were with Arya on that journey, but the book, she became super spy, super assassin really, really fast, which I had a problem with. Like, I stand my girl Arya, but I had a problem with that. So, being able to read an assassin's book where we see that Miyakove did not automatically become this perfect warrior type gladiator. She trained, she worked her butt off. You saw her body broken, you saw how much effort, how much time it took, and I love being able to be with that process, because when she eventually does arise and become the best, when you can hear the crowd chanting crow along with her, you know that this is something that is well deserved. This is something that she has earned. My baby girl has earned it. We the readers have earned to see her thrive and see her come on top. And do I find it ironic that Miyakove thriving is her being able to stick as many daggers and swords into people as possible? So long as they deserve it, I don't mind. And I love the fact that she still kept the heart of who she was. She was still helping those she needed to help, even though she was still, she became more of that feared assassin. And also, this book is so deliciously gay. Like, I love the gay. This book is so bloody, so bloody, and so fucking gay. Like, it just ticked all my boxes. I know everybody's like, little spoiler here, but I know a lot of people are like Team Trick, and Trick is cool, Trick is awesome, but I'm sorry, like, Ashlyn can get it. Ashlyn can really get it. Like, I understand. So, like, let's just say, I'm trying not to spoil it. If you've not read Godsgrave, please, for all that is good and merciful and kind, read the book. Read the Nevernight series, because that Dawn is coming in September and I cannot wait to read it. I have questions, and J. Christoph knows how to leave us hanging, because that cliffhanger at the end of this book, I screamed, I cried, I shouted, I was like, what the fuck? I had questions that I know I'm going to get answers to, because if there's anything J. Christoph's writing taught me in this book, it's that he knows how to give his readers good payoff. One, he does not insult our intelligence. He knows we are smart enough to follow the story, to understand what is happening, and to be able to piece together things. So when he finally does that review, you're like, oh yes. And in fact, you might probably start having an inkling to it before you get to that point. But yes, I have full confidence that Dawn will not disappoint. I cannot wait to read it. But this book, I love, I treasure. Like, my baby Miyakove is bae, and I gave this 5 fucking stars. Like, if I could give it more than 5 stars, I would, because this book, it's killing. It kills every other one dead. Like, I love this, and you bet your ass I'm going to be rereading Nevernight and Godsgrave before Dark Dawn comes out, because I can't go long without seeing, like, getting lost in this world again. Like, I just can't. The next book I read in April was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. Now, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I'm going to start my talk about this book by openly admitting the fact that I am not a big Beauty and the Beast fairy tale girl. I won't say I don't like, actually, I don't fucks with it that much. I still do believe in the old Stockholm Syndrome thing and all of that. I understand the themes. I love the fact that it tells us, to look beyond the surface, to look to what is within, and to also understand what we're capable of. I love that. I love that. It's one of the most profound fairy tales with regards to that. So, like, I love it, but getting to that point, I always had a problem with that. So, yes, not my favorite fairy tale, especially because of all the other fairy tales. Like, the amount of Beauty and the Beast retellings that exist, there are a lot. Like, way too much. So, when A Curse So Dark and Lonely came out, I was like, damn, another Beauty and the Beast retelling. But I had a lot of friends that read it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. Did I like it? Okay, do you know what? Let me start with the things I loved about this book. I loved Harper. Like, she was a swing first, ask question type of girl, and that is, like, if you know me, that is my type of girl. I love the fact that she was independent. I love the fact that she, took control of her own life within her own hands. I love the fact that she was a very action-driven girl, and I also love the fact that she was very compassionate, very loyal. Like, she was immediately concerned about, what will happen with Ember 4, even though prior to when she was kidnapped, she didn't even know that country existed. And, like, the amount of loyalty it takes for you to want to save a country, you know, that you never knew existed, to the point of even willing to sometimes lay down your life for it, like, it's powerful. I also love the fact that you see those moments where she's terrified out of her mind to do stuff, but she still goes ahead to do it because it's the right thing. Like I said, Alpa is my kind of girl. Plus, she has cerebral palsy. She's like, fuck that shit. That shit is not going to keep me down. You're not going to treat me as a victim because of my disability. And it's just, I love that. I love like Alpa, I would die for. I love that girl. Gray is brooding and stoic with smiles that are very rare, but his loyalty runs really deep, and I love that. I love that about him. I love the fact that he's so faithful, but at the same time, as much as it was that he did not get along with Alpa in the beginning, by the time he realized who she was, and not who she was, but by the time he realized the kind of person she was, the fact that he was so willing to train her and work with her, like, it made my heart melt. My problem though with Gray was that stoic, broody, slightly moody, very loyal. I've seen quite a lot of characters like him before, so I was kind of like, okay. And we did not spend enough time with him for me to know what really made him tick beyond those qualities, so I was just kind of like, okay. Now, Ren, the prince, was just, he evolved from the spoiled brats, but we never really did meet the spoiled brats. We just met the prince who was, you know, who was slowly tearing his kingdom apart, who was being tortured and harassed by the villain, and who just wanted a solution to end it all. Ren talks about, you know, caring for his people, and like he snaps at Alpa for believing that, oh, before she came he never cared for his people. But you don't understand the amount of things and, you know, sorrow he has gone through, the amount of pain he has gone through, because like every stereotypical villain, the villain in this book has slowly stripped him of everything. You know, his family, those loyal to him, his people, and then she tortures him with those imageries and those memories every single time she shows up. So you understand that he's just a tad bit broken, and he's just counting down the days until, you know, it's all over. So Ren was just, it was kind of bland, not gonna lie, it was kind of bland. Yeah. The two things I really loved about A Curse So Dark and Lonely was Harper and Gray. Ren, The things I did not like about A Curse So Dark and Lonely, it's a lot. Firstly, there was this theme of not like other girls that ran through this entire book that just pissed me the fuck off. Like, nothing pisses me off more than that trope, because some girls like dresses, some girls like pants, some girls like dresses and pants, some girls can kick ass, some girls are better with their mind, some girls can do both. There is none is better or worse than the other, and nothing pisses me the fuck off like when writers do these things in books. Like, from the very first time she shows up, it was just glaringly there. Oh, unlike the other girls, she fought. Unlike the other girls, she can ride horses. Unlike the other girls, she tries to escape. Unlike the other girls. Like, it got so bad that, what's the prince's name? Ren? Ren actually was all like, even her name, Harper, was not like the others. Like, the others were Ariella, Isabella, soft names, but Harper, it was strong, it was cut off, it was short, just like her. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that pissed me off so much. Every single time it shows up in books, I get even more agitated. This all pitching women against women just because the things they like and the things they enjoy are not necessarily the same. Like, can we just all agree that girls deserve better than being compared to other girls? And that old stupid, not like other girls trope really, really, really needs to die. Like, sometime soon. Yes. Please and thank you. Something else I did not like about the book was the all forced love triangle thing, because I'm like, why? I didn't think it was necessary. You all know what I feel about love triangles. You know, like, if the love interests in that triangle are all compatible and good people, why not just, you know, poly up? Like, please, someone give me a polyamorous couple I can support and stand. But yeah, I didn't really feel her relationship with Ren though. Like, she spent more time with Grey, and I think Bridget, it's obvious that Bridget really likes Grey more because she spent so much time developing Harper's relationship with Grey, and then you're with Ren, she's with Ren, and you're like, it just seems a bit forced. Now, my major gripe with this is that which is something I had a problem too with A Court of Thorns and Roses, even though I love the rest of the books in the series. That first book was the Beauty and the Beast aspect of it. I love the fact that, you know, Bridget Kemmerer took liberties and tried to spin the fairy tale on its head, in the sense that, okay, do you know what, the Beastly, yes, I'm going to spoil this, but this is a spoiler you run into like in the first couple of pages in the book. Ren, when you meet Ren, is a full-grown adult. He's a man. He's a gorgeous man. He's a gorgeous prince, right? Living in an enchanted castle. But he only turns into a beast like later on in the season, and that is when, you know, the love the girls have for him is tested. And my problem with that is that like I said at the beginning when I was talking about this book, the basic premise of Beauty and the Beast is being able to see beyond the surface to what is within. That is the basic premise of that fairy tale. And when it is that you have a fairy tale where you can automatically, you can, like, the person you're falling in love with is already attractive on the outside, and is later on, then the premise changes to, oh, do you still love them even after, you know, they turn beastly, which rings a couple of flags for me, because I just think abuse, that is basically how abuse works, right? The person is charming and loving and kind on the surface, right, in the beginning, and then later on shows their beastly self. Now, the way abusers tend to work is that, oh, you know what, you've seen my good side, please stay with me through my dark side, you know, that type of thing. And I just, anytime I come across something subtle like that, it just makes me cringe. It makes me cringe because that is basically how abuse works. They are charming at first, and then slowly they devolve into this monster. And usually what we tell abuse victims is that when that happens, before that happens, once you start seeing signs, get the fuck away. What stories like this are telling you is that, oh, it's nice and charming, but it becomes a monster. Like, that was probably not what Bridget Kemmerer was thinking, but that was like all the thoughts I was going into my head when I was reading this book. So maybe I was unfair with it. That was just how I saw it. I'm like, he's attractive, he's pretty, and then you understand the boundaries of the curse. Not the boundaries, you understand how the curse would be broken in the original fairy tale, right? Belle tells him he loves her before a girl has to tell the beast she loves him before the last petal falls, and then that's how the curse is stripped away. Like, you understand that. So it's Stockholm Syndrome-ish, but you know that is what you're looking forward to. This, we do not really understand how it works, because at the end of it all, Harper does not really love, she does not actually even love Ren. She thinks she might be starting to, but she does not love him. The curse is broken through another means, and I'm wondering, how did Grey know? How did he figure out that loophole? Why were we not given any glimpses of the possibility of that loophole being present before, you know, Bridget Kemmerer just ran with it? Like, I had questions at the end of this book. So yeah, so although I love Harper and I love Grey, that was why I was just flip-flopping between giving this book, it was either going to be a 2-star read or a 3-star read for me, like, and then I just settled on a 2.5 because I settled on a 2.5 star, like. And on Goodreads, I lowered it down to 2 stars. The 2 stars being for 1 star for Harper and 1 star for Grey. That was just it. But, like, yeah, I am going to say though that the next book in the series, I fully intend to read it. One, because that is Grey's story. Finally. And secondly, and more importantly, because I think that when Bridget Kemmerer gets a chance to walk away from the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale, maybe she will tell us something else that now works, like the way ACOTAR series went down. You know, like, once you step away from the fairy tale and you can tell the story you want to tell without being limited or constrained by, you know, the tenets and the principles and what makes that fairy tale the fairy tale, then who knows, maybe it might tell a better story. I don't know, but I intend to read it. I intend to buy the second book and read it, and hopefully I would love it better than this one. So fingers crossed. The next book I read in April was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Now, like, I have a lot of friends who love this book, who were like, oh my god, no, I can't wait for you to read it, and I finally did, and I loved it. Like, the world building, oh my god, what I would give to live in Red London, like, just. But then again, maybe because I'm just a wimp, because White London is going to kill me fast. I'm not going to survive, and Grey London is just too drab. Like, why would I want to live in Grey London when I could live in the London that had all the magic? But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I really enjoyed this book. I love the world building in it. I love the fact that when I started, I did not know what I was getting myself into. We're just dropped cold into this narrative, into this story, and you're like, okay, so what is happening? We meet Kel from the start. Now I can appreciate the Owlcrate, because I got an Owlcrate pouch in the January box that just had Kel wore a very peculiar coat, and then at the back says Astrovals. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is the big deal about this stupid ass coat that Owlcrate put on this purse? Like, I was running my mouth like an idiot because I had not read the book. Now that I've read the book, that purse, it holds a special place in my heart, just saying. Anyway, we start this straight out the bat. Kel is delivering messages. We find out, okay, he can travel through worlds, and what he usually does, what travelers like him are employed to do, is to deliver messages across the different Londons, like to the different rulers of the various Londons. And we meet Kel, and then shortly after that we meet another traveler who is Holland, like and straight off the bat, we know that Red London is the London with magic. We know that Grey London is the London that does not have magic or barely has magic. We know that White London is the London that magic has, slowly been poisoning them and killing them. And we know Black London has been totally and completely consumed by magic. And you would understand why, because when a sacred object from Black London gets released into the other Londons, and you see how fast and how quickly the darkness of that magic, that pure magic worked, you understand how an entire London could be consumed. And then you understand why Kel does feel kind of bad about, the fact that the reason why White London became White London was because it was caught in the crossfires, because Red London just cut themselves off, and White London had to deal with all the bullshit from Black London before Black London totally disappeared. Like, all this thing is backstory in the beginning, or rather, all these things is world building / info dump that we get at the start of the story, and then we pick up from there, and that is where things work. I think what I really love about this, other than the world building and how carefully intricate each of the Londons intersect, and how movement across the worlds work, is also the characters. I think the characters really do elevate the story for me. I love the fact that as much as Kel is warm and caring and kind, he's also not above killing any and every single person that threatens those he holds there, and he does not think twice about it. Kel would have been an Hufflepuff except for that willingness, that just inch of going dark when you cross somebody he loves. And I love that. I also love the fact that there's so much mystery going on about him. I love that whole conundrum of what do you do when you live with a family that accepts you, and in other ways you consider your own family, until you remember that who you are is a priceless possession, and they might not necessarily see you or think of you as a person. And that is the conundrum that Kel is in. But even though he's aware of that, it does not take away the fact that he still considers Rai his brother, his blood brother. He would die for Rai. He would sacrifice his life for Rai. He would bind his life to Rai. And I love that. I love that bond. Speaking of Rai, I love the fact that he's charming, he's cocky, he's vain. He's kind of like a lot of, princes we run into in YA. Like, the stereotypical YA prince is cocky and vain. What always sets them apart is that little something extra. That something extra that differentiates them and makes you look twice at this prince, who is not just this charming, sweet tongue, flirty type person. What makes them tick, right? Sure, the fact that Rai is bi already elevates, gives him some depth, but also because we read the book and we understand that Rai is he feels bad about the fact that he does not have power. He does not have that power. And when you reside in a London that, although is not as bloodthirsty as White London, a London that runs on magic, not having that immense power at your disposal, we see Rai coming to terms with that and feeling helpless about that, and that just makes me happy. I like seeing that bit of personality that we give him. I also love the fact that Orland is just, you hate him, but then you understand why he's done what he's done, and I hope he gets a redemption arc. Although technically when he was sent to at the end of the book, I'm like, will he though? Will he though? Like, questions. And then finally, the love of my life, Lila Bard. When you have a cross-dressing thief, you know, who has lived on the streets all her life, you know, and is just that bit ruthless, but also that bit loyal, and also that bit fearless, you love her. I know a lot of people do not like Lila Bard. I love her. I stand. I cannot wait to continue learning more about her, just because unlike Kel and unlike a lot of other people in this world, Lila knows what it means to have absolutely nothing. She knows what it means to have starved. She knows what it means to have clawed her way to where she currently is. So she's just that character. She's just that character who would steal from you and then is loyal enough to come back because you saved her life. Like, complexity. Thy name is Lila Bard. And I love her for it. I love her. I love the fact that okay, yes. See, this is what I was talking about with the Curse, So Dark and Lonely. Like, Lila she's not really the dresses type of girl, right? And we established that in the book, right? We established that even down to when she's going for the masquerade party. I love the fact that the mask she goes with is like with all horns and all devilish and stuff. And you know, there's a line, I'm trying to see if I can find it. See, she goes, at last she lifted up the waiting mat. So many of the faces that hung around the stall were lovely, delicate things made of feather and lace and garnished with glass. But this one was beautiful in a different way, an opposite way. See, like, there is a way in which you can state that someone's preference for something else is in itself also beautiful without putting down something else. And even down to, like, even when Kel was noting Lila's name and the way in which the I just cuts off abruptly when she's saying it, like, you know, it does not go all unlike other girls who are like Arabella and Isabella. Lila is short. It doesn't need to do that because she's her own person. You can appreciate who she is, the differences she brings, the uniqueness she brings to the table without necessarily putting down the others. Like, Darker Shade of Magic did it well in my book, as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is how you state someone is different without making it seem like, oh, but she's better than all the other girls because she's different, right? Another thing I love about this book is the way the villains died. Like, if you have spent any amount of time on my channel, you know I am a sucker for stories where the villain does not die a quick, easy death. Or even if it's going to be quick, it should not be easy. Like, when they die so quick, like, stab them in their heart and they're dead. I'm like, why? This book, though, it gave me a villain ending that came at the hands of Kel, and I was like, that's the reason why I love that boy. Asteno for life. But I read this, I gave this a 4 out of 5 star. Yes, it's not a 5-star read for me. It's a 4-star read, but it's a very solid 4-star read, and I cannot wait to read the next book in the trilogy, which is A Gathering of Shadows. I'm hopefully going to read it this month, and I want more of my characters. This was a start. This was like a starter course for the rest of the series that I know is going to be a full-fledged meal that I'm going to gorge myself on and be really entertained and love and really enjoy. So yes. Next, I read these babies over here. Yes, I have started my reread of Harry Potter. I started with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and then I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Both are the Bloomsbury edition, which I said I really loved. Yes, I have not read Harry Potter in a very long time, especially the first set of books. I've not read them in like almost 10 years. So coming back to this was like coming back to an old friend. I love falling in love with the character, with the world again, with the characters. I love the fact that it just made me feel young and happy and filled with hope, you know, just before the rest of the series got really, really adult and really, really dark and really, really bloody. Yeah, this was the beginning when we did not know what was waiting for us. And I really love that. I love how simple the writing is. I love how vivid the world was. I love the fact that I was back 11-year-old hoping that, you know, the minute I turn 12 I'm going to get my letter from Hogwarts. And I love coming back to this world. I love coming back to these characters. I found it fascinating though, because it was when I was reading the second that I realized that I love Hermione Granger, but I am thankful that it was not the Hermione Granger that we started this book with that we had at the end. Like, she had a full-on arc, because Hermione in the early books was really, really annoying. She was a snitch. She was this know-it-all girl. Like, I just like, oh my god, I was rolling my eyes so hard. But you can see that she started slowly evolving, started breaking rules in Chamber of Secrets, and I know she just gets better as the series progresses, which I really do appreciate. But yes, I of course still have a problem with the fact that every damn time I read this book, I have a problem with the fact that you know, Slytherins were treated really badly. As a proud Slytherin, I get really, really pissed when I remember it, because like, we deserve better. J.K. Rowling, it was clear in the books that she was clearly biased against Slytherins. I'm really offended. What did a Slytherin probably hurt her when she was like really young, and she never forgave us, you know. She bore grudges like Snape bore grudges, so I'm still slightly pissed. But yes, I enjoyed it. I gave them both 5-star each, because if anybody thought that Harry Potter was not going to get 5 stars, like, do you know me? These were the books that really, really got me invested in reading. Of course, every damn time I read it, I'm going to give it a 5-star. I read it and I watched the movie, and I forgot the liberties the movies took against the books. I think this was the best adaptation movie-wise. Yes, this, and I think Prisoner of Azkaban. But like, yeah, as I finish each book, I watch the movie, and then I tell myself, what the fuck? Why? But yes, I enjoyed it. So these were the 2 Harry Potter books I read in April. Next, I read the concluding book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, and that is Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. And let me just say, Laini Taylor is bae. She deserves all the accolades, she deserves all the money, she deserves all the flowers, she deserves all the love, because I love the series. Carol is always going to be bae. I am so sad because we are not going to get to see the characters anymore. Like, no Susanna, no Mick, no Carol, no Akiva, no Liraz, no Ziri. Like, I miss these characters. I've got even Scarab, even Eliza. Like, I love the fact that Laini brought in these 2 characters. That's Scarab and Eliza in this book. Even Nightingale. And she had us care for them. Like, we cared for them, we loved them, we understood where they were coming from, we wanted everybody happy. And I love the fact. I love that. I know a lot of people go all, oh my god, you know, they are not real stakes, you know, almost practically everybody on our team survived. They all kind of did, you know. And it's just like I said with, like, you know, when I'm talking about Sarah J Maas and comparing it to, you know, the heartache I went through with Crooked Kingdom. Sometimes I want my heart ripped out of my chest and stomped upon, and sometimes I want everybody happy and in love, and I got what I wanted and more. The only problem I had with this book was that it ended so abruptly. Like, it's a big book, and there were a lot of things that Laini Taylor did cover in this. The world building is still spectacular. I still love the fact that, you know, these are characters we care for, we are invested in. I love the way she writes character interactions / relationships. I love how we've seen each one of them grow and how they've matured over the last 3 books, and I love the resolution. I also loved the way she ended things, you know, with Jael and even Esther. Like, Esther getting what she deserved. Bitch got what she deserved. Like, anytime a writer gives, like, characters I hate their just comeuppance, it makes me very happy, especially if the punishment is really suiting and really, you know, fitting for them. I'm like, your mind is more devious than mine. I stand and I approve. Like, I love when that happens. I love when that happens in books, and I got that in Dreams of Gods and Monsters. I would say this. I wanted Akiva to grovel more. Like, he groveled a lot and he suffered a lot, but I wanted him just to grovel just a little bit more because of, you know, what happened. But I wish the fact that this book was so good, and I'm not making any sense because I repeat, this is something I do not want to spoil at all. I really want you to go check it out, read the book for yourself. But I am so upset because I love the book so much, and then when we got to the end, I'm like, no, Laini cannot conclude all the stories in such little pages, and she did, but I wanted more, which is why when I heard that there are some cameos in Strange the Dreamer that are like from the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, I'm really happy, and I sincerely hope that, you know, it will satisfy some of the questions I have, because I wanted more from these characters. I wanted to just see them, like, even the epilogue still drove the plot forward. Like, it wasn't a we're all chilling, we're all happy type epilogue. Like, things were still happening. That is how packed this book is. But I definitely loved it. I gave it a 5-star out of 5 stars, because this entire trilogy is like a 5-star trilogy. I loved the months I've spent reading it. I love the fact that I was able to buddy read it with Sarah of Novel Serendipity. Like, she made this experience like so elevated. Like, I love this book. I love the series. I love Carol. I can't wait for when I get the chance to reread it again, so that I can fall in love with the characters all over again, because bae. Absolute, total bae. The next book I read in April was To Best the Boys by Mary Weber. Now, this came in my Fairy Loot box. Yeah, my Fairy Loot March box. Like, I am thankful for that. And yeah, so I actually found this an okay read. It did not blow me out of the water, like it was like, oh, perfection, but it was okay. So like, I gave it a 3-star read. It was like in between for me. I loved Ren. I really loved Ren. I love the fact that this was one, she was a girl who existed in a time when women, the role for women was in the home, like in the houses. Like, they existed to support their husbands and to raise their children. But Ren was not about that life. She wanted to be a scientist. She wanted to, you know, come up with cure diseases, and also put a brilliant mind to work. And speaking of a brilliant mind, Ren is a girl who has dyslexia, and I love the fact that came to play in the book. I wish though that Mary Weber had spent more time fleshing that out and developing it, because other than 1 or 2 mentions of it, like, it didn't really pop out. Like, I wish that it had really come into play more in the book. But I still love the fact that, you know, this book just confirms that, do you know what, you can be dyslexic but still be a badass kick-ass girl in STEM. Like, I love that. I also love Selene, who was Ren's cousin. And yes, I keep saying Ren. I read 2 books this month or last month with main characters that were both Ren. Imagine being me in my head right now. But anyway, I love Ren's relationship with her cousin Selene, who also, like Ren, loved to dissect things. I was also, like, you know, very science oriented / minded. But Selene was not afraid nor ashamed to state the fact that what she actually wants is to marry the love of her life and to have his children and raise their family, and that was it. And I love the fact that, you know, this was a story that told both women's perspective, and both of them respected each other, and both of them wanted what the other person wanted for each other. Do you get? So when Selene tells Ren that, you know what, I support you, I am down for what you want to do, I'm your ride or die, but I still would, this is what I want. Ren was like, of course, it makes perfect sense, because that is who you are, that is what you want. You love Beryl, of course you want to marry Beryl, of course you want to have kids with Beryl. Like, I just love that. I really love that. Speaking of Beryl, find you a man who will scream like a banshee when he thinks dead people are moving, because same Beryl, same. I love the fact that this book stayed consistent with who Ren was, even till the end, even with the romance and all of that. Ren, as always from the beginning, stated that she wants to be a scientist, so it only makes sense that at the end she gets that opportunity, and I'm really proud of her. What I wish we had gotten more of, I wish that our love interest Lute had gotten more of. I wish it had been fleshed out more. It was just, no offense, but it was kind of bland, because we didn't get any depth. That's my problem with it. I understand the story was told from Ren's perspective, and I appreciate that. Like, this is a kick-ass girl we are following and all of that, but I just wish that, you know, we had been able to see more of Lute, you know, and like seen Lute more through our eyes, like understood why she loved him and all of, like, you get an idea, but I just wish we had like spent more time developing / fleshing out Lute's character. The same thing with the villain in the book, because the eventual villain was just your same old I'm evil. Sure, you understand that. I appreciate the twist we got at the end, in the sense that, you know, when your mind is filled with science, sometimes you create things that should not be created. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate that we got that. But I wish that the villain as well as Lute had been more fleshed out. What really pained me though was the fact that To Best the Boys was all about Ren getting into this prestigious university by winning the scholarship, and to ensure that, you know, all the contestants are worthy of the scholarship. They have to, you know, survive the labyrinth, you know, and everything else. Like, that was what we were building up to, and I felt really bad because 3/4 of the book we were outside the labyrinth. We were only in the labyrinth for like 1/4 of the book. But To Best the Boys, even the cover has us in the labyrinth. You would expect that we'd spend more time in the labyrinth, especially because it was in the labyrinth that we really got to see Ren's mind shine and see just how brilliant she is. Like, she's brilliant outside the labyrinth because, you know, she was conducting experiments, but to see her really put everything to get answers, to dissect things, like to make sense of it all, like, I just wish we had spent more time with that. But I did find it an okay read, and I did give it a 3-star. I actually like the way things were wrapped up in the story. It's a standalone, but I know that even with the way it was wrapped up, who knows, there's threads she could take with the sequel to the book, but at the same time the book can still work as a standalone if that is what Mary Weber wants. And I love that about standalones. Like, standalones done like this, I just love that. The next book I read in April was The Epic Crush of Genie Lo by F.C. Yee. Now, this book, I've been interested in this book since I heard about it like late last year, just because I am a huge fan of Journey to the West, especially any stories that have to do with the Monkey King. So when I was told that this was a YA retelling of Journey to the West, I was really invested, and I was ready to pick it up, and I did not regret it. Like, sometimes all you want is a book that makes you laugh like till your sides ache, and characters that you shake your head because they're just rascals, and a girl who is really tall with anger issues, who smashes things, especially when the things she's smashing are demons and rogue gods. Like, this book had it all. I loved it. I know some people state that the writing is a bit juvenile, but I'm sorry, but when I was a teenager, I did not really have that much sense, so I understood some of the decisions that Jenny Lu took in this book, but I really did appreciate it. And oh my god, I did not see the twist as to what companion Jenny was until it like came out in the open, and I'm like, oh my god, Genie? Seriously? Oh, mind blown. Like, I love that. I love the fact that I did not see that twist. I love the fact that, like I said, she has anger issues, but she's really strong, and she really has a good heart, and she's really loyal, and she really cares for her friends. I love the fact that the Monkey King, Quentin, Sun Wukong, is still rascally, is still mouthy, is still strong, but at the same time, he's still a fish out of water. Like, I love that. And I love the fact that this book also did ask some of the, you know, like, when I first read Journey to the West, there were so many things there were so many problems I had with the book, you know. I felt that there was some punishment that Sun Wukong experienced that was not justified. I felt that okay, the Everly realm tended to be filled with some dirtbags. So, like, these were things I had in mind when I was reading Journey to the West, and having Genie echo those frustrations, you know, while she's dealing with all of this new terrain in her life, I was just like, it was just giving me life, and I was just like, yeah, I'm so happy. It's a small short read. I loved it. I can't wait for the second. I think the second book is The Iron Wheel of Genie Lo, and oh my god, based on the way this book ended, I can't wait, because shit is gonna hit the fan, and it's going to be funny as fuck. And I feel, on one hand, I feel so sorry for Genie. On the other hand, I'm like, better you than me, boo. Better you than me. But yes, I definitely really did enjoy this. I gave this a 4-star out of 5, and I cannot wait for the second book in the series, which I think is coming out January next year. So, a bit far, but I'm patient. I'm nothing but patient, but yes. And finally, the last book I read this month is Rock Your Plot, A Simple System to Plotting Your Novel by Kathy Yardley. Now, I've said it several times on my channel, I write, although I've not written anything new in like forever, and when I write, my writing system is kind of like a little bit all over the place. Like, I am more of a pantser, and if you're just like, what the fuck is a pantser? Now, a pantser is someone that writes by the seat of their pants. So usually you're writing the story as it comes to you. You're letting the story tell itself and you're just the conduit for the story that wants to be told. I tend to write like that. I like to be surprised as much as the readers. I like the story being like, oh, just taking whatever form and shape, and then I look back and I'm like, oh my god, so this is what you wanted to say. But at the same time, there are some people, some people are plotters, so they plot every minute detail. Like, I'm more a pantser, you know, because I'm not really a plotter. But I do know that one problem I've always had with my novels, with stories I write, is that when I get to the middle, everything drops. Like, I know how my story starts, and I have a good flow, like up to like the first 25 to 30% of the book, right? And then when I get to the middle portion, things just drop, and then it picks up again at the end. And that dreaded middle always gets to me. But reading this book and being able to see the various systems and the various questions to ask when you're plotting, or when you're thinking about, when you're ideating your novel, when you're thinking about it, it helps to make it easier. Now, I would always be a pantser because I like the magic of stories being able to tell themselves, you know, through me. But I do also recognize the fact that there are certain things to ask. Like Kathy says in the beginning of the story, what you need to first do is find out, do you have a story, or do you really have a cool idea? And when you can tell when you have a story, you know, when you've worked out your GMT for your characters, so their character goals, motivations, conflicts, your internal and external, and then you know you've balanced things up to tell a story, then you can differentiate it from a cool idea. Because a cool idea always starts so cool, and then when the story gets its stride, you're left floundering because you never really had a story, you just had a really great idea. But a great idea can be turned into a story if you know just what questions to ask. And that was what Rock Your Plot was about, you know, this question to ask yourself, the question to challenge yourself, these ways to make your story better. And yes, it is plotted down to the T, but I do believe that ultimately the goal of the book is for you to come up with a system that works for you and helps you in telling the best story you could possibly tell. And I do believe that there are tips I actually did pick up from it that will possibly help, like when I start like working on the idea I have, because I have been able to identify the fact that what I have right now is a really cool idea. Like, I have 2 really cool ideas, but I don't have stories yet. But when I do, I am definitely going to be ready. And this is definitely a book I'll be coming to over and over again until, you know, my story is ready. But yes, so those were all the books I read in April. I am sorry this wrap up is going to be long as fuck, but like I always say, your girl likes to talk about books, and I am sorry, I apologize. But yes, that is it. Let me know if you read any of these books I read this month. Let me know if you've read them and if you agree with my thoughts, or if you disagree. Whatever your thoughts may be, leave them down in the comments down below. If you like this video, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other videos, subscribe if you want to. I make new videos every Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and I'll see you soon. Until then, stay passionate, love books, love yourself. Bye.
And it burns like a gin and I like it. Put your lips on my skin and you might ignite it. Hurts but I know how to hide it.